Hi, I am just doing our last Learn, Teach interaction. The first chapter was about program evaluations, and we were able to develop a assessment for us to use for our workshop. And I don't know if Family Relations did the same thing. The things that I found interesting from the reading were that the evaluations were a necessary evil, which I can see that because it does take time to develop it and know what questions to ask to be able to know what the strengths and weaknesses of the program are so that you can make the program better. And they talked about needing a clear vision and goals for your program, because if you don't have anything to measure your program against. You don't know what questions to ask because you don't know what your goal is even of the program. For my workshop and my assessment, I wanted to know, the questions that I wanted to answer was if my program was informative, enjoyable, and worthwhile. I wanted to know if the participants found the workshop and information useful, and if they'll actually use the skills and apply them. It's about strengthening marriages, and so I can talk all day about it, but I don't know if it's useful without their feedback, knowing if they're actually going to take the skills and tools that we talk about and actually apply them to their marriage. And I also want to know if I'm effective as a teacher, and if the participants felt like they were able to participate and not just me lecturing. I hope that's not how it turns out, because I want to involve the participants so that it's a great workshop that we all work together. The plan for assessing my program is to distribute the assessment questionnaire that I made, and it has, on a scale of 1 to 5, answer these questions, with 1 strongly disagree and 5 strongly agree, and then all the ones in between. And then I have a couple of reflective questions, such as what was the best part, what could the instructor do better, how could the workshop be better. The next week we talked about the ethic codes. And the importance of ethic codes is it makes it a professional organization. When you have principles to guide you, making important decisions regarding your practice and the relationships with your clients. A professional code of ethics provides guidelines when confronted with challenges and difficult ethical dilemmas. And so that's really important to have these guiding principles so that you're not stuck in a dilemma where you don't know what to do. What stood out to me most was the relationship between parents and family. So for me, that meant that you may be more knowledgeable about this subject, but the parents are going to know what's best for their family. Just like I wouldn't want someone to come in and tell me, well, this is what you need to do to have a better family life. And if you don't do it, then your family life won't get better. It's important for us to present the information and respect the families, and that the parents will be able to make the best decision for their families and for their children. In my workshop, I don't foresee any potential ethical dilemmas. I've been trying really hard to structure my workshop to avoid any such dilemmas. So I'm allowing participation, but I'm trying not to have opportunities for participants to be able to overshare or share something of a personal nature. Then they talked about the difference between mandatory ethics and aspiration ethics. And I thought that was really interesting, because mandatory ethics just reminds me of this is the rule and you have to follow it because it's the rule. And aspiration ethics is because you want to be better. You want to follow the rules and you want to do the best that you can. I'm so sorry, my little boy just woke up. The virtues that I have that will help me are that I'm caring and I'm optimistic. I care about others. That I care about others, and that I hope for the best for everyone, that everyone will be able to find the positive in any situation, and that we won't dwell on the negative. And I think that happiness is not just for one person, but it's for as many people as possible. And I think that's one of the purposes of us even on this earth, is to be happy. to have happiness. And if we can help families be happier, then we can have a happier world, and happiness makes the world go round, right? In week 8, so just this week, we talked about the boundaries between being a family life educator and family therapy. And it's a very fine line. And so I think it's really important to understand the role as a FLE educator so that we don't overstep the boundaries. And if we are working with a participant that shares too much or does need more help than we can offer, that we need to be able to be aware and be able to refer them to someone that can help them better. As an FLE educator, I think our role is to teach, educate, and care for families. And the 3 words that I would use to best describe the role is teach, help, and empower. Because I think as you teach and educate families, that they will, that you're helping them, they'll want to help themselves, and it'll empower them to take charge of their family and to implement some of these school skills and tools and the knowledge that we're teaching them, and that they will feel like that they can do it. I think that's really important to have an effective workshop or any FLE education, is that the participants take the knowledge that we give them and they use it to help better their life and their family's lives. And the last one that I wanted to talk about was understanding our limits and boundaries. It's the article, the Myers-Wells article, talked about understanding why it's important not to be a therapist or a counselor, but to just fulfill our role as a educator. I'm so sorry about my little boy. And if you slip into any kind of therapy or counseling, or you think, oh, I can just answer this one question or help them this one time, then you're overstepping your boundaries, and that's not what we're doing. And you're not following the code of ethics that we've talked about before. And so it's really important to walk the fine line and know when you need to refer them to somebody else. I think that's really important to know. And when you, if you understand your role as an educator, then you can educate and inform them and help them in those ways without offering the therapy and counseling. And I am getting ready to teach my workshop in 2 weeks. I know it's kind of far off, so I'm really getting excited and nervous and hope it all goes well. Well, thank you so much for listening, and have a good night.